Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Today we're going to be making a heavy-duty man gate. It's going to be about 4.5 feet wide and about 5.5 feet tall. We're going to be using some 2-inch square tube 063 wall thickness, which is about 1/16 of an inch. I'm going to surround that with some 3/16 by 3-inch flat bar, and then inside of that is going to be some 5/4 by 6 Tigerwood stacked horizontally. It's going to be a great video. Let's get started on today's project. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, so I'm over at the Evolution, and I'm going to go ahead and start cutting all the pieces I need for the outer frame. Like I mentioned, we're using some 2-inch square tube 063 wall thickness, which is about 1/8 of an inch. And I've got the saw set on a 45, and I'm just cutting the pieces I need right here. You know, I got this new tape measure. I don't know if it's called a Comelin or Comelian. I'm not certain the name of it. However, I did get it on Amazon. I have no affiliate link to that whatsoever. But you know, I go through a lot of tape measures until I try to find the right one that works the best for me. For me, in my shop, this tape measure right here is hands down the best. Now it's only a 16-footer, but that's all I need. I don't usually need much more than that for making quick measurements. I really like the way it feels in the hand. Yeah, it's a nice tape measure, and I'll go ahead and put a link in the description for the Amazon there. All right, I'm over to the welding table, and I'm cleaning everything off. It's important to have a nice flat, clean surface when you're starting this. I got my table log set up, and I'm squaring up the first two sides. You know, in the past, what I've done when I first got the table learning how to do this is I would put the table logs in and square the two sides up, weld those, and flip it around and get the other two sides put on. But now I'm getting used to this, and I've had the table now for a few years, and I've done a lot of work on it. This situation right here it seems to be working the best for me. It's the fastest. I'll just square the two sides up, and then I will drop the other two sides in and measure and square them off, usually off the table. You can see I'm measuring off the table right there, getting everything adjusted. And it takes a couple times to go around and get it, but you know, once you get it, it's good. Checking for square right here, and right on the money. All right, I'm going to fire up the HCP ProPulse 220 MTS here, and I'm going to go ahead and tack all 4 corners. You can see I'm tacking the inside and a couple spaces on the top, and then when I get to the 4th corner right here, I'll go ahead and weld that out as much as I can, and then come on back all the way around to the original starting point. You can see that I'm stitch welding that back corner, and also I'm going to be doing the same with the corner closest to the camera right there in front. You might see there's a little bit of a gap there. Maybe the cut was off 1/16 of an inch when I cut it, and then when I squared everything up, it just created a gap on either side. So a little stitch weld right there is all it takes to kind of fill that in. And I'll do the same on the front side right here, and got it all done. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and grind these welds down on the top surface and the side as much as I can right here before I flip it over. The idea is I want it, when I flip it over to weld the opposite side, I want to be sure that everything is nice and flat, and if I didn't grind that down, then I would have a lump right there, and you know, it would just be harder to complete the weld. So this situation here, I just grind everything down, and then when I was done here, brand new Mercer zirconian trimmable flap disc right here. It's nice and sharp and gets for a nice clean edge. All right, I got that all done, and I welded the other side out and took care of that. And now it's time to put on the the 3-inch flat bar stock. This is 3/16 of an inch thick. The idea here is the customer did not want to see any metal frame. They just wanted to see wood from the front side. Now, I recently completed a project here for this the same client. It was a set of double gates, pretty much the same exact thing. I didn't film it because I'd already filmed a project a couple of years ago that was very similar. As a matter of fact, that's how this client got the idea for this gate, is from the video that I did a couple of years ago. So I didn't want to film another video of the same thing. But this Mangate right here is similar, and it's the same style. So you can see by the time I'm done with this, the wood fits on the inside, and you're not going to see any of the metal frame from the front, except for that 3/16 maybe. But that's going to be hardly anything compared to the wood mass that's going to be taking over. All right, so I'm just clamping everything down and nice and flat to the bottom side there. And because it's 2-inch square tube and this is 3-inch flat bar stock, obviously the height difference there is 1 inch, and then the 5/4 wood that I'm going to be using is 1 inch thick, so it'll be flush to the outside of that 1 inch extension there on the 3-inch. All right, so I'm clamping everything down right here, and I've got a little bit of a kink in the in this metal. This is one thing. You go to the metal supply store, I know I do, and you order a bunch of material, and then I have it cut usually to 10-foot lengths. And when I do that, sometimes I'm not watching the material, and the yard guys out there, they pull the material off and they cut it, and I'm not paying attention. And sometimes they've got warps in it and bends in it, and that was the case right here. I didn't realize it until I started working with this. This had a bend in it, so as you see me cranking everything down and clamping it down to straighten it up, and that was a success there. And you can just see this is I don't know, about 1 inch weld every 6 or 8 inches apart on the inside right here. Now I've created a little bit of a jig right here. You can see that jig. It's got a piece of angle iron and a flat bar on the top that helps hold it down. And then the side pieces, you see I'm just going ahead and welding the inside right here. Now I'll later flip this over and weld the other side so it can't pull apart from the frame. All right, so got that done, and now it's time to flip this over. And here's a good example of clamping. You can never have enough clamps, and this is what I was talking about. I used all these clamps to pull it tight against the frame right here, and then I'm just a little 1 inch, again 6 or 8 inches apart is all you need, and that's just going to hold that against the frame there. Just when you think you have enough, I always go get a couple more, and a couple more, and now I've got probably, I'm not kidding, I must have 30 clamps, and I use them all most of the time. Can't ever have enough clamps. All right, and then I got that done all the way around, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and grind it smooth on the back side right there, and just kind of grind down any welds that might be sticking up or any sharp edges that might be, and smooth out the corners as well. The gate is really heavy. The set of doubles were really heavy, and this Mangate right here is heavy as well, probably well over 100 pounds. It's a lot of weight for a gate, but it'll last a lifetime. All right, so this is 1.25 inch angle iron, and these are the supports that's going to go in the inside of the frame to support the horizontal boards that are going to be in there. Now, no screws from the front side. I'll be screwing from the back side, so you won't see any screws from the front. And then I'm using this now to space in these, where you can space them wherever you want, but I went about 8 inches from the edge. I figured that's where it would needed to be to keep the boards closed from maybe warping and pulling apart. So it doesn't really matter there. That's kind of where I went. All right, so I got a situation here. I've never done this before. I'm using these hinges right here, these weldable hinges, and because it's only 3/16 of an inch, I was a little worried that, and the gate being as heavy as it is, I was a little worried that just that 3/16 of an inch wasn't going to be enough to support the hinge. So I went ahead and added a piece of angle iron in here, and now I've kind of doubled up the thickness right there and gave it some support right where the hinges are going to be. Got everything flattened down, and I'm just going to go ahead and weld it right here. And I'm just going to clean that up. Now I'm pretty confident that that area right there that the hinges are going to be supported on is going to work. Same thing on the other side. This is just, you can see I got some holes drilled in. This is just a piece of angle I had left over on the shelf, and it's going to work out really good for this. All right, got it all cleaned up, and that's kind of the way that's going to work. All right, a little bit of information here. All right, so this is the this one of the posts, the mounting posts, and this is a 1 inch by 3 inch, and this is a 120 wall thickness. I decided to go a little thick on that. And the way I usually do it is, this is an 1.1/8 hole saw, and I'm going to drill 3 holes in here because I'll be mounting it to a block wall. And the block wall, 3 mounting spots. I'll be using some bolts to do that. It'll be screw anchors. They're like Hilti screw anchors. They're excellent for going into concrete. Once I drill these things through like this, and then I anchor it, I have these 1.1/8 rubber plugs that go in those 1.1/8 holes, and that plug those holes up. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to have the head of the bolt sticking out. I want it to be smooth and flush because I don't have a lot of room. That with the hinges, when they're welded on there, there's only about 3/8 of an inch gap right there, and the head of the bolt would be a problem. So this is why I drill through, and then the head of the bolt is on the inside, and then the plug covers it up. Got these little reamers or deburrs. Got them at a metal supply store. I thought they're pretty handy. They're pretty inexpensive. I got like 4 of them, all different colors. Can't ever have enough of the tool. All right, the spacer in there. It's a 3/8 of an inch spacer. And then here's the hinges. Now, one thing to note, you see if you're using these type of hinges, is a grease zert right there. Now that, you want that pointing up all the time. So the part of the hinge that the post is on, that post, the hinge part with the post on it, I should say, should be pointing up. And then when you have your gate, you can just drop your gate. The barrel of the hinge will drop down onto that post. I found that being the easiest and best way to do it. You see on the bottom of that post, I didn't weld the bottom up, and I do that for a reason. I weld the top. The top is solid, and the bottom is open. Because oftentimes what has happened is I've drilled a hole to mount the post to the wall, and I've dropped a screw or a washer down inside there, and it's been lost. So that's why I keep the bottoms of the posts open for that reason. All right, it's a simple thumb latch right here. I'm just getting that welded on, and this gate is going to be complete and ready for the powder coaters. All right, a week later, and there it is, back from the powder coating. And then here is the wood. This is the Tigerwood that I'll be using. Now, this is kind of interesting. It's coming from, it has to be mounted from the back side, and this is a little bit difficult for me. I'm a big guy, and for me to get down on my knees like this, you can see I got plenty of padding down there. Yeah, it's difficult to get it in there. So it's coming in from the back side, and it's going to be screwed from the back side right here. I'm going to be drilling 2 holes on each side of the angle iron, and then putting these black screws in there, and that's what's going to hold the wood in place. And then this wood being tongue and groove, if there are any boards that are warped or slightly bent, the beauty of the tongue and groove is you can just kind of snap them right into place, and it straightens them right up. And on those blue things you see, just a blue piece of plastic that is there to keep from scratching the powder coat. And once I get farther up here, it's going to get a little bit easier for me. Like I said, I'm a big guy, man. This is hard for me to get down like this and do it, but I'm the only one that does it, so I got to do it. This Tigerwood too, you don't have a choice with this stuff. It's not like you hand select it. You call them up. This is Advantage lumber. I'm using the facility in Santa Fe Springs, California here. And you place an order, custom order, and then they make it for you. So they select the wood, so you never know what you're getting. You can see the finish on those boards right there. They're all different. And so what I have to do is go through, and you don't want too much of the grain shown in one and none of the other, so I split it up a little bit and got a little bit of everything in there. Now the front sides and the back sides are all different, grain wise and look wise, and so I took plenty of time to be sure and select a really good look for the front of the gate. And then but you'll see that here in a minute when I get done. All right, I'm moving up finally. Getting almost off my knees here. You know, you see me drilling through the angle iron, and then I've got a small little pilot hole that I'm just starting in the wood there. Now, I didn't do that on the double set of double gates that I did, and I had a couple boards that actually split on me. So now that's why you live and you learn. This is really hard wood. And a couple small little pilot holes in there, and I never had any issues at all. Yeah, you can see how you just tap that tongue and groove in there, and it straightens things up really nice. And maybe you can see what I'm talking about the grain. See how I split the grain up? I got a couple of boards on the bottom there and one in the middle that's got really nice grain to it. And you know, the thing about it, and this is the back side. The front side's a whole different story. It looks a lot different. All right, right near the top right here. And just putting the last couple boards in. Now the dimensions on this gate, just like I say, you never know. You know, the wood is what it is. And so you never can be perfect. You never can have the perfect piece drop right in there. In this case, I was an inch short. I got the small little piece in there, 1 inch. The beauty is it fits so tight that you really can't even tell if there's a piece in there. You can see how I'm banging it in, and it was a close fit. That was a tight fit. So I couldn't get a screw in that small little 1 inch piece at the top. So this is a 3/4 inch hole. And this was challenging right here, let me tell you. Got a little pilot hole, and then I've got the screw. Hang on, and hopefully I can get it in there. And then a nice 3/4 plug right there and filled that hole up. Something I wasn't planning on doing, but hey, this is the only way I could get it done. And that's what I'm talking about. You see, I lost a screw right there. So there's a screw on the inside of that frame I'm never going to be able to retrieve. All right. Well, here it is. I'm all done. I'm going to flip this thing around, take a close look at this gate. You can see it's nighttime there. It's probably the next night I finished it up. And there it is. I think the customer's going to be happy with that. You know, they're going to see all wood and no frame, basically. That's the look they were looking for. This was a great project. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. And if you haven't already, check out the website at jimbosgarage.com for merchandise, torch lead holders, and miscellaneous items. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.